Welcome back to the LearnRHEL channel uh, for YouTube, and I'm going to be talking to you about the concepts related to audit. Specifically, we're finally going to get into what is going on with audit records and how to query them, how to generate a summary, how to maybe even use the summary to dig in deeper into the logs. Okay, so we know that we have a bunch of audit logs from the 1st of November, which should be here, up here, all the way up to today's date. But also we have records from back as far as the 31st of October because I try to keep 31 days of audit log. So we should see audit.log.1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 through 19, 20 through 29, and eventually probably a .30 will line up as well. Okay, I'll do you a quick overview and I'll show you what the content of an audit log looks like. There we go. There's a type record, and you can see which node it was reported from. And then there's the message, which is made up of the timestamp and epoch time, so the number of seconds and fractions of a second since January 1st, 1970 at midnight. And then the event number, that's considered to be an event number right there. So if you remember when I point out the -E or hyphen event, switch arguments to the AU report or the AU search command, this is the number that they're talking about. UID numbers, we know what those are. AUIDs are actual user ID numbers that were used. Session, the subject, which is actually going to be your SE Linux context in the case of this string, and so on. Now, I will tell you that as the video goes on, I'm going to make reference to this type, but it's actually used as the string value for the -M command with the AU search command. So just be aware that coming up, I will mention that and kind of point that out again. Okay, so we got this time, and we don't know what that is in epoch to translate in human. I'm going to teach you that trick too, because that's kind of important and useful in case you're like, I see an event like this, and I want to know everything between this time and all the way up to this timestamp. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a :bang so we can temporarily exit out of the shell of VI. We will do a date command, space, -d, and then give it the format that we want, which will be with the @ sign, and then we'll give it the epoch time right here. By doing that, I'll hit the enter key, and you can see that the command I gave actually translates to November 18th at 14:28 and 47 seconds Eastern Standard Time at 2023. Okay, so hit the capital O, shift letter O to get back to there, and hit the enter key to basically exit out of the escaped shell from VI to get back into the VI session of what we're using in the actual audit log. Typically, you don't want to use VI with the audit logs because you can corrupt the audit logs, or you could delete some entry. So just get away from using VI command as much as you can, but I wanted to show you the content here without running cat and having it take 2 minutes to scroll up the screen. Okay, so we can grab this number here, bang, oops, sorry, :bang, date, -D, @, we'll paste that number. See 623 here and 623 down there. We'll fire that off. And that's November 18th, 14:29 and 1 second Eastern Standard Time. So that's a matter of how many seconds in a fraction of a second, right? So we are. So just be aware that you can do that. And it's going to be useful for somebody who doesn't read epoch time, because I don't. I can read hex numbers and convert those, but I cannot convert the number of seconds since 1970, January 1st, 1970 at midnight. That's just too much. All right. Look at the arch value. That's a long numerical kind of a hexadecimal number. Syscall number. The success value is going to be something I'm going to reference here in a few minutes. And all of these little values could actually potentially be translated from the long numbers that you see to a numerical value. Okay. So again, I want to grab this number, and I want to try and capture that date for a reason. At sign, paste. Okay. So yeah, we want to remember November 18th, 1429 Eastern Standard Time, 2023. Okay. Reason why I want to do that is I want to run this command, and I will show you why. I'm calling :Q, :Q, bang. That gets me out of VI. :Q was because I had a close out of a subshell of VI, which made no sense to me. Okay, so I'm going to do a man on AU report, and I'll show you that you can do an AU report against auth type events, AVC type events, COM type of events, config type of events, crypto, and then failed versus success. If you notice, this is hyphen hyphen failed only. There is no hyphen hyphen. Oh, there is a hyphen hyphen success. They did not do that consistently with summary versus, AU report versus AU search. So be aware of that. I have run into that problem before. Hyphen hyphen event. This is where you use that numerical value after the colon I was talking about, after epoch time. All right. So let's do an AU search. Actually, I'm going to paste it. No, I'll do AU search -ts. What I'm going to do is specify the date of 11/18/2023, and you have to put time of day inside of single quotes for some reason, but you cannot put the time of day and the date into single quotes together. Never understood that, but that's a problem I've run into. Okay, so we're going to target the 14:29:01, and then we'll put time end of 11/18/2023, single quote, 14:30:00, and let's just fire that off first. And what we were looking for was what time of day? All of those records were in that time span between 29:01 and 14:30. The one we actually cared about, if I remember correctly, was actually this record right here, right? So I see that time, and that's the event ID. So let's go ahead and do an AU search command on that event ID, which will also come back with a few records. And silly me, forgot to actually grab that number. There we go, 21808. Okay. So 21808 had a whole bunch of values come back. That's a record. That's an independent record. Anything where you see node equals, in the particular case that we're looking at here, is an independent record. Now, they're grouped together by clumps of time, by the way. And the event ID seems to be consistent across multiple times of the day. So be aware of that. What I want to do is run this command one more time and hopefully see something like that number translated to syscall equal to the syscall that's associated with. So let's try that. We'll do hyphen hyphen interpret, PR, damn it, PRET. All right, so the first thing I noticed, if you paid attention, is that this string of text in between got translated. The epoch time was actually translated to human time, if you noticed. The event ID was not, but that's actually okay because we are keying off that event ID. We want to make sure we have a match. The arch part was actually changed. It was translated from the string that it was to translated from that to that. And we translated the syscall equals 42 to be the syscall of connect, and success equals no. Let's take a look at that. Success equals no is still there. AU equals A0 equals 99. Take a look. A00 is A0, sorry, is still 0x99. That wasn't translated at all. Let's take a look at the AUID and the UID numbers. So AUID was unset. It used to be that number. It was converted to the string of unset. UID equals 0. It was translated to root for you. GID equals root. EUID equals root. SUID equals root. FSUID equals root. EGID equals root. So on and so forth. You can see that for yourself. And then session was unset. The command was systemd. Okay, so we have learned that, and now let's go ahead back to the man command and use man against AU report. So I'm switching back between AU search and AU report. You can do a summary table if you just simply do an AU report and you specify the time start of the, I guess the 11th, is it? Yeah, the 1st to the 11th. 1st, 2023 at midnight to the time ending of the 11th of November, 2023 at 23:59 and 59 seconds, which basically is the last moment of basically the 11th of November. And here we're going to get basically this table that comes back. It's taking a while to process because there's a lot of data between the 1st November and then the 11th. You can see that the time I used was actually cleared up right here, by the way. So this is the line you look at to make sure that the data you're getting back is appropriate for what you were trying to query. If you're like, I ran some command, I can't remember what dates I used, well, then just take a look at selected time for report line here, and it will tell you. I don't know why there's a range of time all the way back to, or all the way forward to 1969. How's that possible? So that must mean that there's some sort of a virtual time glitch or something. All right, so number of changes and configurations, 428. Changes to accounts, groups, or roles, 0. I think what that means is the number of times somebody has done like a new role change or a new group change. And I actually don't know how you change accounts, so I'll have to look into that at some point. Number of logins changed. And again, this is all for the date range of the 1st at midnight to 23:59:59 on the 11th of November. Okay, so failed authentications versus authentications. Let's try that. See if we can do -off. And I'm hoping that by doing that, we'll probably get maybe this result back. So what we got back, as opposed to this actual line item, is the actual 7 events. There was actually 11 events, so why does it say there's 7? Oh, because there was 7 plus 4. Sorry, 7 here plus those 4 failed. Let's try this one more time. Let's up the ante here and put -failed on this command. I'm hoping that A report does the -failed, and it did. So we can see out of this entire list which ones failed. And you can also determine, if you compare this line with the string answer that says no to all of these lines where the value just before the last column is no. So that's not a no, that's not a no. This one is a no, this one is. These two don't have a no. These two do. These two do. And then this last one also does have a yes. Okay, so that's your 7 versus the 4 equals the 11 that are clearly articulated and spelled out right there. Right? So the number of users, 3. I think that's the number of times somebody has tried to take a look at that. I think we can put hyphen hyphen user. I'll try it, and if it doesn't work, we'll check the man page. Wow. Not very happy with that result because I'm trying to demonstrate this. Hyphen hyphen user. So I came back with all that for some reason. Ugh. Generate the report again real quick. Number uses 3. While we're waiting, you can see there's no crypto events and no integrity events to check. No virtual events to check. Keys I'm not really going to get into. Process IDs. There we go. All right, so running the command versus running the command with dash dash summary made no actual relevant differences there. For terminals, let's see if we can just change dash dash summary, hyphen hyphen summary, to, how about terminal? I think it's terminal without the hyphen hyphen terminal. Cannot type today. There we go. So you can see the number of associated terminals that have been used and how many times. So apparently cron is a type of terminal. That's good to know. Okay, let's change the hyphen hyphen terminal to com. And I'm hoping that we can maybe see them spelt out. So there's 2, one for systemd and one for SMTP. And there's a ton of them. So I'm not sure why it says 2 versus the 111,749 here, and then 21,743. I don't write audit, so I can't justify why that's a difference. Okay, files. Let's take a look and see what we can do about file. So let's do a man and AU report. See if we can find one for file. There is a dash dash file, so we'll do that. And you see that 47,711 times there's a reference to the file Plymouth D. So basically, it's a different way of assessing the audit.log data attributes. Okay? Okay, so let's get past the AU report and let's move on to the AU search command. We'll do a man on AU search. You can type AU search and fire it off and it'll query all the logs, or you can kind of do like we did with the AU report and specify a time window. So I'm going to pull that up just so I can see the times that are used and do AU summary and then do hyphen TS again with a date without single quotes, and then the time of day in single quotes, and hyphen hyphen TE, again, same kind of date format. And I did hyphen AU summary for some reason. I've got AU summary on the brain. There we go. So when you do AU search, it's not doing a summary. It is actually going through the audit.log files successfully with like a read-only type of a perspective. It is not modifying the logs. There's no way you're going to corrupt the logs using AU search. It's not like using VI or using cat or using grep to, or even awk for that matter, to pull out records. But all of those are just read-only tools as well, right? Okay. So there's a whole bunch of stuff here. If I do AU search command, I can specify lowercase m and then service stop, and I will see a reference to this if I go through and dig it up enough. So let's do that. Let's first determine the date of this here. I'm not doing my own trick here. Date -d @ paste that epoch time. And now we know that I need to target that specific time of day. So ausearch. And I'm going to basically do -ts. And the 11th of November, 2023, from 23:59, and I'll say 12 seconds in reality, to the time end of 11/11/23 up to 23:59 and 14 seconds. I'm hoping that by doing that, I will actually see this record again, by the way. So let's try that. Perfect. So I got only the 3 records that were between the 2 points in time that I actually care about. And we can see that I actually did get back this record again, which is a miracle. This is, again, the event ID. That is your specific epoch timestamp here. Let us try this one more time with the -- interpret. Okay, so now we translated this epoch time to that human readable time right there. And that's still the same epoch ID, which actually can, by the way, sorry, the event ID, not epoch ID. The event ID can actually apparently be used more than once in the same audit log file. So be aware of that, please, for your own sanity, if you're doing a security inspection of your system logs. Okay, all of these had a result of success. So let's see what happens if we run the same command and then do -sv, which means success value, and we're going to set to no. So success equals no. I'm hoping that as a result, we'll get back nothing as a result. And we got back nothing. If we change the word no to yes, we got something back. In fact, we got the exact same 3 records back. What else can we do? With ausearch, we can search for all of the audit log records that match a given type. And what I mean by that, instead of doing like egrep space type equals user underscore end in all caps out of var log audit.log asterisk, we can just simply run the ausearch command appropriately, and we can target that particular type. 23:59 and 14 seconds. Let's actually take this all the way up to midnight. The other thing I'm going to do is change this to precisely midnight on the start of the day. All right. So the beginning from midnight to the end just before midnight on the 12th. So just 1 day's records, and that's it. I'm going to fire that off just because you can see there's a whole bunch. And you can see there's a service stop type, there's a user end type, and a non-abend type. So there's a whole bunch. But if we do -m and I choose something like service underscore stop, then all of the records should come back with everything without user end, without a non-abend, okay? And I'm going to fire that off. And there we go. We can see all the way back to the top where my command was executed. I just saw it. Service stop. There's a whole bunch of them in the audit logs too, if you notice. Tons and tons and tons of them. Okay. Well, I don't want to take too much more of your time. Let's move on to the next thing. You can actually specify as a message type more than one type by putting a comma delimiter and no white space, and then put the other value you like. So in my case, I'm going to do that enum underscore abend. And hopefully we'll get both service stop, anom, aband, but no user related type stuff. And there we go. We got the anom, aband, and the service stop, and nothing but that. Okay. All right. Now, if you want to know a good way to figure out what type of types are in your audit logs, you can do the following command. You can use awk, and you can specify a search of type equals, and then you close the search string, because what you're doing, you're saying search everything that has a string that matches type equal sign, and then I'm going to say what to do with it. Once you find something that matches that, I'm going to use the rest of the awk subcommand of print, and I know that I need to print the second field, by the way. You'll figure it out if you try and struggle with it on your own. Develop some skill, and then do var log audit, and audit dot log asterisk. So it'll cover audit.log, audit.log.1, audit.log.2, all the way up to all the audit.log.number files you've got. And then finally, we will pipe this and sort it and unique it all at the same time. And hopefully we'll have a small list of all the types across all the logs that have occurred over the past 30, 31 days. So there's an anom abend, an anom RBAC integrity fail, AVC. So there was actually an AVC somewhere in our logs, by the way, a config change. This is not what's potentially possible. This is what actually is in our logs, just to be clear. We are searching all of our logs, and that means that if this command says, what are all the types that we actually did have in our audit logs? Okay, so daemon end, daemon start, daemon rotate. More than likely, daemon rotate will be associated mostly with things like the audit daemon rotating the audit.log and then restarting the service. It's kind of a thing that it does to help us have audit.log roll at midnight, by the way. And why midnight? Because I chose midnight, because, the end of the day is when an audit log should probably be pinched off and a new audit log should be generated. All right, so we could do a quick AU search minus M, and then just specify something like user underscore CMD in caps. I'll fire that off, and hey, look, we got a whole bunch already. Let's generate some new records. Let's try that AU search command. We'll get rid of the user CMD. How about the user underscore account, comma, and user underscore end. And let's throw some wacky one in here. How about path? So anything that had a type equals path, a type equals user end, or type equals user account, not that these necessarily have anything to do with each other, you can do that. And there you are. You can see it randomly in the strings right through here. Now, one more interesting thing is that all of the audit records don't necessarily have a search key listed with them at all times, right? So let's take a look at that real quick. And let's do a search on KEY equal sign. Oops, equal sign. And we can see key equals external access has been used, which means more than likely that there is an audit action rule that was used, because this is a type syscall, by the way. An audit action rule that is associated with a syscall that actually had the key type of external -access. So the reason why that's important is we can go, okay, how about external -access and the type of syscall? So let's try that. AU search minus M syscall. I think that's what we can do. And then -K external -access. Let's hope that this works. Hey, it worked. So this is going through all the audit logs that we have currently listed on this system. and it's pulling up all those records from all those logs and printing them to the screen, and it has completed. That's syscall, type equal syscall is where the dash M came into play, and the dash K external access is where that came into play. And the idea is that this command says, hey, find all syscall records in the audit logs that also have the key set to external access. And you can have other syscalls that might be for other purposes. Now, we have talked about it before, but you can do AU syscall -- dump, and that should also tell you, with that combined with that, once you translate it, what you're dealing with. Okay, so let's try that. Pipe to less, and let's look for 42. 42 is connect, and there we go. Okay, and I think that's actually it. So yeah, if you want to remember, you can generate a list of all the syscalls that are in your system by using this command. That's good. Remember that you can use a man command against AU report. That's safe for you to learn how to do it. AU report is a safe command to execute so long as you have, well, it's always safe to execute, but if you don't want to draw attention to something that maybe you shouldn't be doing, don't be naughty on the system, then don't do it. But if you want to learn how to run this command for building your career up, then you may want to run a virtual machine or a Linux server of your own, or maybe a physical machine with Linux running on it. And these commands will work. I mean, these will work for anybody running any variant of Linux of any kind, whether you're a Red Hat variant user or even a Ubuntu Debian type of a variant. And usually I'm smart enough to remember to announce that in the very beginning of my videos to let you know who the audience these videos are intended for. But these videos are actually pretty cross-platform compatible across the Debian variants along with the Linux variants. Okay, so thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.